All right, everyone. Good afternoon. If you're on the East Coast, good morning. If you're on the West Coast, if you're somewhere in Europe, I don't know what time it is. Good morning or good evening. Kenneth Price on Sunday, July 9th, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm in Pennsylvania now for our Sunday morning Zoom call for our ministry, psychiatricsobriety.com. We have been doing this for a year and 9 months. We've got over 100 of these Zoom calls recorded, and we are making great headway, great progress. Unbelieving our mental illness stories, our mental illness narratives. The reason I'm hosting these is because I was once upon a time trapped in a narrative that was spiraling me down, down, down. Narratives such as bipolar, ADHD, borderline personality. You know, the psychiatrist just kept putting more labels on top of this dream character, and they kept adding more pills into my medicine cabinet. And next thing I know, I was completely drugged, and I kept getting sicker and sicker. That's my story in a nutshell. Out of all that came this amazing, powerful, beautiful ministry that I could not be more grateful for. So did anything go wrong in my story? No. Okay. And that's what we do here every Sunday morning or every Sunday afternoons. We all get together and we reframe these disempowering narratives. We get together and we unbelieve ourselves back into wellness and wholeness. We ground faith, we support one another, and we do whatever it takes. I'm working with a very tenuous demographic, so I add disclaimers to every single one of my introduction. Folks, if you're watching this on YouTube, do not misunderstand our message. It is very important that you look into my eyes and hear me now. We are not telling anyone they need to exit psychiatry. We are not saying there's anything wrong with psychiatry. And even most important, we're not telling anybody to get off their meds. It is essential that you hear that for harm reduction, because our purpose here is to help and to heal and not cause any harm. It just so happens that I reached the end of my rope, and I did exit psychiatry, and I did it off my meds. And the people who have found one another in this ministry have all decided have all made the same decision. And if you want to listen in on this call and capture information, that's what we do. We're here to inspire, and we're here to offer experience, strength, and help. I'm a 12-stepper from way back. That's why I call it psychiatric sobriety. So please understand, for harm reduction purposes, if you do want to get off your meds, you've got to go outside of the Zoom call, and you've got to talk to your doctor, and you've got to discuss that with your allopathic practitioner. So having gotten that out of the way, we start off each one of these Zoom calls with the healer's prayer, because I am a Course in Miracles student, and many of the others who come on this call are also Course in Miracles students. And this is not about me giving any information. This is not about me teaching. It's about me getting out of the way. And the healer's prayer goes like this. We are here only to be truly helpful, and we are here to represent him or her who sent us. We do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because he or she who sent us will direct us. We are content to be wherever he or she wishes, knowing he or she goes there with us, and we will be healed as we let him or her teach us how to heal. Okay, I got that out of the way in 4 minutes. They told me yesterday that I talked too much, so I'm going to try to stop talking. I think Kathy's back on board. I see a green square around Kathy, and there she is.
What was that? You talk too much?
Well, I was on another Zoom call, and two people call me a blabbermouth. You guys want to be codependent and help me unwind that narrative? Hi, Greg. I missed you, buddy.
Hey, how you doing, Greg?
Good. Oh my Lord.
Oh, what Lord?
Chris. You got it
Couldn't see
shaved.
it. I shaved.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
fresh faced.
Very nice.
You look even younger than you did before. That's not
Yeah.
I hate
You're
you.
like you're 12 years old.
Kenneth, I think you talk just the right amount. How's that?
I've
Say
seen
no more, say no less.
I was on the Zoom call yesterday. You know, it was a different Zoom call. It was for gay men spirituality, and you know, all of a sudden I see on my screen, you're being a blabbermouth.
Well, at least
All
they're
right.
direct.
Well, how y'all been? What's been going on the last week?
Well, I just want to say something to your blabbermouth comment. So in the beginning, I was really down and crazy and whatever. Everything bothered me. Your voice really bothered me because it's powerful. But now I appreciate it. So maybe it's your light shining too strongly. I don't know, but I think it's
Catherine,
okay now.
You have so much courage, and I told you from the very beginning. I hold you in high respect. I hold all of us. Do you realize what we're doing here? I mean, we're doing something that they told this man it couldn't be done, and all of us are saying, you know, enough is enough, and so there's not one person who comes on this Zoom call that I do not hold in exceptionally high regard, because it's hard work. Speaking of hard work, Jody.
Hi, I'm driving home, so I'm here. And yeah, it's hard fucking work.
Yeah, Jody and I have had some very powerful calls, and she has gifted me every single call. You can't do this alone, folks. I can't. And I can't explain where this ministry came from either. It came from, you know, the best I can explain is that healer's prayer. I couldn't heal by myself, and none of us can. It's faith.
I think it came from Celine Dion. You know who that is?
Celine Dion?
Yeah, Canadian singer. All by myself, I don't want to be all by myself anymore. Okay, I'm in a coffee
You look
shop.
good, Kathy. You look good.
Oh, thanks. I just
Are
went
you
to the
doing
woods.
better?
Yeah, I went to the woods. I was blessed with zillions of bugs. Lots of blessings.
Yeah.
Showed me that I need to stay here. So I'm back home.
And that's what's good about this call. You know, we don't always have to talk about serious stuff. Isn't it beautiful that here on a Sunday morning we're singing Celine Dion and talking about bugs?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's one of the, you know, finally David Hoffmeister, I love, he's completely flexible. He stopped all of his serious, you know, online gatherings, and he started something called, you know, weekend online, I don't know, they're impromptus, or he's got some name for it. Basically, in a sense, he started injecting comedy into his ministry. Thank you, David.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Kathy, is that true?
Huh?
We need comedy on this journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need
that's
the
all I ever watch is comedy or music. Everything else is unnecessary information.
Yeah. The whole point of overcoming hardship is to be happy. You know?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
It's the
I guess
point of life.
I'm not very good at being unhappy personally. You know, some people can walk around miserable, not me though. I have to be happy. And if I'm not happy, I'm pretty pissed off. I like to be up there, you know, all the time.
Happiness is the best revenge.
Yeah.
Greg, you look happy.
That could be our theme.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Happiness is the best revenge.
Yeah, I'm coming around. You know,
Speaking of happiness, look at those beautiful white teeth on Beloved.
Hey, beloved.
Hey, everybody, good to see you. Good to see you.
Beautiful voices here.
Some people I haven't seen for a minute. And Chris, who are you? Oh my goodness.
I know.
I love it.
Fresh
I love
face.
it. That's right.
Good to see you.
Yeah, and hair and everything. Okay.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do this.
Did you get a haircut too?
I didn't. I'm just unshowered and unkept.
Yeah, okay.
And you know what? That's when you look the best. I mean, I hate it when I
Right.
wake up and looking gorgeous. I'm like, where's my audience? You know?
No, it's so good to see you, beloved. How you
See?
doing?
Beloved,
Benzo
they-
withdrawal has my hair coming back. I mean, it's I'm losing hair in benzo withdrawal. It'll come back, but yeah.
Wow,
No,
I
it won't.
can't
It'll be
tell.
just like mine.
No,
Yeah.
You
I,
look
I
good,
never
Greg.
thought
You look
that.
lighter. You look happy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am. I am. I made progress. I made some progress. Yeah. Not so
You
much
know,
despair and all that.
it's actually scary for me to be happy. It's it takes courage to be happy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I gotta disclose that. I've gotta come and air that out too.
Yeah. Is it for me? Are you waiting for the other shooter drop? Is that what it is? Yeah. Something could go wrong. Yeah.
So when I use the word courage, it's courage on all fronts.
Uh-huh.
I have this somewhere in my ancestral lineage, we were supposed to martyr ourselves to, for some, future reward benefit. It's a crazy, insane, misunderstanding that is mine to alchemize.
And
My
many
father-
of ours. And
I know.
many of ours. Yeah, it's funny. Oh, I struggle with happiness. You know, well, that's crazy. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
We're comfortable suffering. That's what you're saying. We got the
Yeah.
suffering gene. Yeah, I was raised
Yeah.
Catholic, so I got that early.
and a lot of us were raised with these, very narrow bandwidths. You can't get too happy, but you can't get too upset. You have to operate. It's so American.
Mechanically, yeah.
That's why the pills felt just right. Right? They shaved off the ends of those spectrums.
Yeah. We're supposed to always, don't make waves. See, because that's called people pleasing in David Hoffmeister's ministry. And I've been at a pastor's house for 4 weeks, and we've been watching the movie The Chosen, and I guess Jesus made waves. Big ones. Troublemaker.
Can I speak a little bit about happiness, please?
Please.
Because I do have an issue, but only because in the past, every time I got off of medication,
It's hard to hear you, Kathy.
I don't even know.
Can you turn up or?
I don't know what to do. Is that better?
Yeah, just speak louder.
Is that better? Okay, so I every time I got off my meds, I went into this crazy manic phase where I wasn't completely blissfully happy, but it was an excitable, weird kind of freeing. I don't know how to explain it, but all over the place, very scattered, happy. And now I had a huge awakening up in the woods. So now I'm I'm back and I'm excited again and I'm feeling passion and it feels really good. But at the same time, it's I question myself, but then, I feel my feet and I know I'm grounded, but then I'm worried about, family and friends. I can't be too happy around them because they'll think I'm manic and you know what I mean? So yeah, it is a little uneasy.
Yeah.
You're coming out of the closet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's for me, I don't know if this is what you're saying or not, Kathy. For me, it's hard to deal with just all these new emotions, these emotions that have been numbed for so long, blunted, kind of swept under the rug. And it's I'm not always sure how to feel them. I'm not always sure how to express them or how to share them with others. It causes a lot of insecurity and oh, is that too much? Is that, yeah.
On Friday night, I went out with an old friend, way out in the East End to some Newfoundland pub. and it was like 40 plus. Like the ages there were like at least 40 and up, like to 70. It was awesome. They had a karaoke night. Then in between the karaoke songs, they would play, you know, dance music. Oh my gosh. I just let it go there. I sang my heart out, went on the dance floor, went crazy. And it was great because there was nobody there to judge me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was cool.
That's great.
That does make sense, Chris, though. I mean, I'm finding, I don't know. I never had boundaries, and I'm like creating boundaries now, but I don't, it's, I don't know. It's for me, it's sometimes I'm a little too direct. I find out, and I'm like, do I do it that way? Or, I'm like a 7-year-old woman, like, am I being too, I don't know. But it is like about 2 weeks ago, I was like really excited and everything. I was like, is that mania? Or is that, I was all concerned, like, is this what am I supposed to be feeling all this stuff, So
You
yeah.
are.
Hey
You
Troy.
are.
Hello.
Hey, buddy. Good to see you
Hey.
again.
You too.
Your camera must be way up high because we're getting an aerial view.
Yeah, it's higher. I'm a caregiver, so I don't always get to things on time as planned. So
Hey,
yeah.
we're talking about happiness this morning. That's going to be the topic of the Zoom call. And the irony is a lot of us are frightened to be happy. Now, is that insanity or what?
I had a rough day yesterday. The lesson for yesterday was the love of God is within me now. I didn't feel any love whatsoever all day. I was really down. I was in a downer mood. Then last night I heard someone from my older ACIM group had passed away. So it was a rough day.
Sorry to
And
hear.
that's good for us to bring up in this call too, because we were talking before you came in that a lot of us were raised with this very narrow bandwidth. We can't get too happy, but we can't get too upset. But I had an aunt who was from Mexico City, and when my cousin passed away, she sat in the living room and she screamed and she wailed and she showed me how to grieve. She didn't care what anybody else thought. Her son was died and she was gonna let it out. I think, and Greg, I think that goes back to what, Greg, I think we all got to, one of the things we can do, on Sunday mornings is to give ourselves permission slips to scream and yell. Yeah. And if it makes other people uncomfortable, it's their stuff.
Yeah.
I'm doing it with you guys.
Yeah.
On my Lebanese side, like at a funeral, for instance, holy expression. Everyone's grieving to the max. They're like, lifting up, throwing up the coffin in the air and falling on the ground. So they know how to grieve. Like in their tradition, the Orthodox Christian, the preacher, he sings more than he talks. And the way he sings, he ignites or triggers the grieving in people. It's like, but then they have this, Canadian, Italian side, and they're like, nothing. No expression. So I have, extremes going on. Anyway, it's just a thought.
I'm sorry I missed this conversation because it just froze and my internet threw me out. Daggone. Because I want to talk about when you were saying, can I rewind this, the manic thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you were describing that, and I'm at the point now, like, there's no mental illness. I mean, what has happened is the natural defenses that we made considering our circumstances. We had to adapt. And so whatever way we adapted to, and then, as we were adapting, that wasn't so socially acceptable. So, you might have gotten on pills or whatever to make you more manageable. But that still doesn't mean you got something. That just means people don't know how to deal with you. And so you're going to be managed some kind of way. But what I really, when I go back and I'm listening to all these people describe their spiritual experiences,
Mhm.
It certainly sounds like one of my experiences I had when I was manic. And to say you need pills so that you never access this again,
Yeah.
you know,
Fucked up.
and you never access the hell. I'm going to say that. As far up as I went, it seemed like it threw me all the way down to hell
Yeah.
as well. And that would have made, now, if it was just the manic, you couldn't get no manic person to take a pill. Only because of the rebound, the depression is why we take a pill. That was the only reason I said, well, if you can kind of think I won't have to go there again, but we all have to go through it. Wasn't that the last thing we said? We have to go through it. So this was all delay tactics.
Yeah.
But the awakening part is what I want to talk about. That's real. We can't discount that. I mean, I'm looking at it now. I'm like, I had a spiritual awakening. They said I was mentally ill and said I had bipolar. And now I have this whole story, which was a whole distraction road. So I wouldn't deal with what created this whole soup, that this would happen to me. I was not a happy person. Let me just say that. At that point, when this break happened, I was so depressed. I was had a baby. I was suffering from that depression. Nobody knew around me. No support. Nobody noticing that I'm falling apart. No, I didn't even notice. I didn't even know. You know, and then something happens that breaks you through, and then you become a whole different person. You know, and then they bottle up and say that's mental illness. This is a disservice to us all that get that label, because it says, okay, take these pills, you won't have to work through it. No, I don't care. Sooner or later, we're all gonna have to work through it. I had to figure out all why I'm crazy. What makes me so what makes me so reactive? Oh, I'm born like that. That's brain chemistry. What kind of reasoning is that?
Yeah.
Can I jump in and ask you a question, beloved? We're both Course in Miracles students, and we've all had the same narrative. Now, are you familiar with this new term, which actually was probably started this whole ministry a year and 9 months ago, called ego backlash? Have you heard? David Hoffmeister was the first one who described this wave cycle. And he said, well, once you go up, he said, oh, you're just going to have a ego backlash.
Oh,
it was not bipolar. He said the higher you go, the ego runs in for the flank eruption, for the defense. And I got it. I said, this is not chemical, this is spiritual.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? Because I didn't.
He called it ego backlash.
Oh, okay.
When we get connected to spirit, ego, Christians call it Satan. Both terms are applicable. Will run in and try to sabotage and bring us back down, so it creates a cycle.
Okay.
It's metaphysically been mapped by David Hoffmeister. Now,
I love that. I did not know that.
Once he mapped it for me, then all of a sudden I got off of the bipolar narrative and I got onto the spiritual awakening narrative, and bingo, the synchronicities began to arrive. You got it.
You can start understanding and going into what happened,
and
right?
allowing it.
Yes.
Allowing it without fear, and more than allowing it, revering it and honoring it. And that's what the ego dislikes the most. If you start to honor the ego, if you start to revere the ego, if you start to love the ego, it says it's over. I can't stand this guy, Kenneth Price. I'm going to go play in somebody else's sandbox. Okay.
You mean spirit?
Well, I'm talking about the ego. The ego, when you start to love the ego, it runs in the front door and says, this guy is nuts. And it goes straight out the back door. We become fluid. My experience with fluidity is accelerating because I still have ego backlash. Oh, well, I'm going to go down and feed the horses. No more drama in my life. This is what I want to share with everyone. The actual mechanics, the metaphysical mechanics. You see, the allopathic doctors don't believe in spiritual awakenings. So to them, it's purely chemical. No.
Yeah. Do you think this is really makes a lot of sense? Do you think this is the same thing as they talk about windows and waves in
Yes,
withdrawal. Do you think that's the
thank
same thing?
you.
So you're either connected or disconnected?
This has been the conversation I've been wanting to have for years, Chris, because it was my intuitive hunch, and and now you are verifying what I have always intuitively felt. Windows. People think windows have to do with this, coming off the, GABA receptors or something like that. Well, I'm sure there's a component to that, but I want to discuss the spiritual component, because the spiritual component is going to emerge us way beyond this allopathic, got to wait for my brain to heal, story.
Yeah.
Well, Dave.
I think what I hear is people saying that, I mean, when we talk about spirit and everything, for me, it's been, reclaiming my humanity, that I'm a soul, reclaiming my dignity as a human being. I'm not just a ball of chemicals. And, is there any reality for me, having bipolar? Probably so. But, just knowing my spiritual heritage, I know that I have a tendency towards what they call bipolar.
Okay, and I'm going to tell you, I got to let you all in on the secret. The way to emerge from this is you're all going to start your own ministry, every single one of you. That is the final, that's going to be the straw that's going to break the camel's back of this mental illness, is every single one of you now must go out and start your own ministry. I don't care what it looks like. It doesn't have to be Zoom calls. It doesn't have to be formal, but you're out there to start serving humanity at some level.
I will.
You already are
right now. I'm
you
not.
already are.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
not there
it's
yet.
good that but I like that Greg, you're like me. I've been searching since I didn't go the allopathic way, right? So I researched but what the trick was that I got sucked into is I made it more real, because they got this much. Let me squeeze my hand. They got even more than this material on bipolar. I got a gigantic, I can't even lift that book up. It's like 20 pounds. Talking about bipolar. So I could go and make it more real, right? But it's me, my personal experiences. You see, nothing trumps that. That's what we got to understand. Nothing trumps. We're the closest. No doctor, nobody can get in closer than me, besides Holy Spirit. My higher mind, if you don't like Holy Spirit, your higher self, universe, whatever source. I mean, and if you don't even look that way, look at how much I was looking at what allopathic define something for me, and the reason I kept researching it, because it never made sense. As an illness, there's so much. When they talk about people who have this particular one, they're geniuses. I mean, I'm in good company. I'm like, right? We're like, yeah, I'm bipolar. What are you? It's kind of like that. And to claim the powers that come with whatever labels they've given to us, because there are gifts I have that maybe the regular person doesn't have. Because talk to me about my brain opening up and the universe splitting out, shooting out of it. I can sit and say, yeah, I've been there too. My whole brain, I met God. Let me give you a pill for it. No, let's talk about me meeting God. How about that?
Amen.
Chris, you want to say something?
Oh yeah, I was just thinking, like, beloved, you said something about how we all also just need to figure out our own self and what we're feeling and what that is. And I think that's what's kind of dangerous and harmful about those labels, because it's someone else labeling your experience. And I guess it might be accurate to a group of people who have a similar experience, but it also might not be, and it can be very confusing. I mean, I've thought of myself, I never received a bipolar diagnosis. I've had family members who have gotten that. I was always OCD and high anxiety. But coming off these pills and what I experienced while on the pills, I thought, oh my God, if I was really honest with a doctor, they'd probably say I was bipolar. So it's like, it kind of doesn't mean anything in a lot of ways. What really means something is, I think, us going on that journey and trying to figure out how best to work with whatever feelings are bubbling up, instead of labeling them as some sickness or something that's wrong, and then trying to expect someone else, even a even some expert doctor, how could they know what's going on
Yeah.
in your brain and know what you're actually experiencing and feeling? I mean, it's so hard to talk about these feelings.
And let me tell you, Chris, they don't know. I mean, they
Yeah.
say it even now, Gabor Mate, there's no scientific test they can pull your blood and say, oh yeah, you got, they can't, there's nothing. There's nothing that they can corroborate this scientifically. This is all because I tell them I acted this way. I'm telling you, this was a conversation. This is how I got diagnosed. Somebody convinced me to go see this psychotherapist. He listened to my story. He said, oh, just casually, you have bipolar. Very casually said, I'll have it forever. Started writing me a prescription for Depakote at the time. Was the number one thing they try you with, I believe. And, you know, just like wearing glasses, you'll have to take this the rest of your life. And once a month, get your blood tested, because a little bit too much, you're going to be in trouble, girlfriend. And, you know, like it was nothing.
Yeah.
So, but there's no test. My point is, it's just somebody's opinion based on what you tell them.
Right.
So I have a video that I watched, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, and I have it saved. I can share it. It's about psychiatrists and the pharmaceutical company reps, whatever, getting together in I think it was the early 70s, when when psychiatry started going downhill, because people were dying from electric shock therapy and all these crazy things. So they got together and the doctors came up with all these, whatever, labels, diagnoses, like depression, anxiety, bipolar. And then the pharmaceutical company said, okay, well, let's try this pill for that, and this pill for that, and this pill for that. And that's when the experiment started.
You know, David Hoffmeister, for about 6 months to a year, had major emotions come up. He said he was crying constantly, daily almost. And I've had a similar experience the past 2 years where emotions have come up, and I've taken anxiety panic attacks. And I think what it is I look back when I was taking that stuff, and it was all my spiritual stuff wanting to come out. It's not to get you away from your humanhood. Taking the medication brings you back in and masks all of it and stuffs you down, and you've got to let it all up, and it's a crazy loop if you get in that.
Kathy, you have some background noise, so you can unmute when you speak, but I wanted to get Troy. Yeah, you know, Troy, I wish that all of us wish David Hoffmeister would elaborate more on the shadow work that he had to do. The Course in Miracles says there's 6 stages to awakening, and 4 of them are going to be dark. I've been told Dave, you know what I told Dave? We talked on the phone a couple of weeks ago, and I blurted out, I said, I tell people to stay away from the Course in Miracles. It's a dangerous book. And I said that to David Hoffmeister. We both kind of chuckle at it. I said, I can't believe I said that to him. But he knows the joke.
I think everyone has to be ready at their own time. There's no, and there's nothing wrong if you need to take some medication for stuff. You'll be ready when you're ready. And
okay, yeah, let's touch on that, because I want this Zoom call to be well balanced. I seriously, if somebody needs medication, we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater either. This is a discussion on spiritual solutions, but when the spiritual solutions have anchored, then the medication will no longer be a vibrational match to the medication. Right. Until then, you know, it does serve. So we've got
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Troy.
No, if you need it, you need it. I needed it for years. And then there came a point where it was like, you know what? I'm out of it. I am so high and stoned and not even here. And you get to that point where you go, well, I think I'm kind of done with it. And yeah, I went through withdrawal probably for a year and a half because I took Paxil and it was brutal. But thank God I only take vitamins now and that kind of stuff and some herbs. I'm grateful where I'm at, but we're still gonna have stuff that comes up. That's the way it goes. You've got to get past the point where you can let this stuff come up. Yeah. And that last night, yeah, I bawled, I cried with hearing about my friend passing away, and you just, there's healing in it. There is such healing if you can let these emotions come up. I've been in groups where people have cried, have screamed, and it's good if you can get it out, and you see people lose their shit, and that's all great. If they need to do that, great. I've seen people really break down in some groups, and we're here to hold space for those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a Course in Miracles person, Troy?
Yeah, I've been on probably 15 years. I've been in lots of different Zoom groups. Yeah, it's been a long go. There was times where I kind of stopped doing it for a bit and then come back, and yeah, it's interesting. There's something to it though. I will admit, when you know, COVID hit and all that, I'm glad I had the Course in Miracles, because I thought of, you know, my thinking was a lot different. Before, I probably would have been totally different. And the reason I got into Course in Miracles is I had health issues. I used a cane for 2 years. And I lived in fear back then. That was a while back, and got into the course, and we all have our path, and most of us are going to hit onto the spiritual journey at one point. A lot of us, it's because of health. A lot of us, maybe it's depression. A lot of, you know, there's different reasons. Yeah. So that's, and I'm kind of, you know, I'm at the point now where I just, recently I've had stuff come up like, you know, what is I really don't know my purpose. I have things I like, but I think, you know, there's got to be more to this, right? There's, you know, deep, you know, maybe the purpose of all of us is really to awaken, and that's period dot, right? That's the purpose here.
There's no maybe.
Yeah.
That's not a maybe.
Yeah.
That is what it is.
Yeah.
Everything else is just.
Everything else probably distracts us from.
We are to,
right?
you know, the Course in Miracles says, you know, it's not like we're supposed to be miserable, but take all of our stuff that we're putting on everything, because ultimately we make ourselves miserable. I mean, nobody wants to hear that, but the whole Course in Miracles, that's what it's telling you. You are perfect. You have everything. Everything that you see is wrong is in your beautiful mind. And until you get that thing straightened out, and that's all it's working on. I mean, the lesson today is just so brutal. You know, there's no pain. That's all in your head. That's what it's not even mincing words. It's not even trying to say it's metaphorical. No, they're serious. I mean, there's just no, it's just black and white in the Course, and you're not a body or you are. And we all know somewhere along the line, we're not just a body. That's what I'm trying to say. We're not, I thought I was just a body, but the Course woke me up and explained everything. So now I love God 100%. I have pure trust, because what I thought of God before, oh my God, it was not nice.
Yeah.
David Hawkins is the devil.
Yeah. I haven't done Course in Miracles, but even if I'm not a Course in Miracles person, I can, you know, nothing that's unreal that exists. I don't know if I believe that things don't exist, but they're so flexible and so malleable that I can see where you could say it doesn't exist, and that your attitude affects everything. I can kind of identify with that. Not 100% sure that it doesn't exist, but it's just such a, you know, we underestimate how, you know, the limitations, you know, that we hold up limitations, and, you know, when we discover that we hold them up, we can let them go. I can see that. I can see that. You know?
And you can test it.
Yeah.
Test it.
Kathy, can you unmute yourself before you talk?
Yeah.
So I hope I'm not annoying you, but I have a song quote for everything that everybody's saying.
Yeah.
Shit, what was it? I don't remember that other one. Anyway, there's a song that goes, it goes, gotta get up, listen to me, clap your hands and stomp your feet. Nothing is wrong if you move to the beat. So clap your hands and stomp your feet. And all the pain that you feel, I can prove it's not real. There's just one thing you gotta do. So she's all about just dance, be in the moment. Oh yeah, and the other one is it's more of like a gospel one by Mary Mary. Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. Anyway, that's what I got.
That's
Thanks
the
for
Holy
listening.
Spirit right there. It's the Holy Spirit speaking through Kathy using her voice.
Let me tell you, I danced yesterday and my watch said 22,000 steps. That's like crazy. It said I danced 15 miles. That is just crazy. But if that's what it takes, what you got to understand is our prescriptions, for me, it takes that kind of release. And that means I'm not going to go curse some random person out that came out some kind of other way. It's just energy, and it's how you manage it and how you let it out, right? And what frequency I'm at. So if I'm down in the dumps, it's not going to be nice. I'm going to yell at the puppy, you know, be short with my grandson, and, you know, lay in bed and watch depressing movies, you know, just continue to make those bad choices until I have courage. Like Kenneth says, and my coach therapist says, you know, she told me I have to get used to being happy.
Yeah.
Isn't it something? So we're so used to just being in this. Don't be too happy.
Yeah.
I mean, why are you happy? There's no reason. You have no money. You're old. You're this, that, you know. You got a list of things. You know, it confuses people why you're happy and you ain't driving no Tesla.
I'm starting to realize it's a decision because it's not based on conditions. Some people can be dirt ass poor, all sorts of shit, and then they wind up being happy. You know, yeah.
Yeah,
One
you
thing
said
I was
that.
going to share with y'all was, well, I was going to share two things with you, and this is from what I've learned about homeopathy. One thing that my homeopath said, she said, there's 120 something symptoms for anxiety. You know, physical symptoms. She said, you didn't have anxiety, you were pissed. You know, and that's a much better explanation. And then one other thing I was just going to say is, you know, in homeopathy, the thing they do is they restore your soul. The remedies are for your soul. And when your soul gets better, your body gets better. So it's really given me a lot of insights that, you know, there's not anything wrong with my body. You know, that there was something wrong with my soul. You know, I had trauma, and
there is no body.
No, yeah. But that's just what I came up with. And, you know, it just kind of, you know, it makes me see that I'm a human being because it treats people, it doesn't treat symptoms. And
You said that, and I love that. I think that is so, you know,
that's the golden rule.
Right. The shortcut is to treat symptoms, and that's what they do now. And we've made doctors like that. I'm not going to point the finger at them. You know, I was at I'm always, tell me what pill that takes. If that fixes it, I'll take, you know, I was like that. I want the shortcut, the quick fix, you know, and so they've responded. Here's the pill. You want, here's a pill, here's a pill, here's a pill. Nobody wants the long way.
The truth is there is no short fix, right? There isn't. That's the truth.
That just sets you up for the ego backlash.
Yeah.
You know, in addition to the ego backlash, there was something else we touched on earlier in the Zoom call, which was grief. And, you know, it's kind of like mine, you know, I'm a builder, so I always think mechanically. You know, my soul was like a clogged pipe. And grief, you know, was like a big wad of toilet paper that was clogging up the sewer, and my toilet was overflowing. Literally, you know, if I couldn't express those emotions, the sadness, it's like that movie Inside Out. It was a Disney Pixar movie where the little girl couldn't express sadness and she started getting ill. And that was something that happened very young in my story, where the sadness couldn't be expressed. Mine was like a prolonged grief. They would actually call it complicated grief, one of the miracles I just love sharing with this group, which started this whole ministry, is when I started to feel the sadness after the anger. I have child abuse stories, and most people in America have child abuse stories. So I spent way too much time in those stories, spent way too much time, massaging something that just kept me in a circuitous loop. But when the miracle of the sadness began to come into my story, I could see light at the end of the tunnel. I'm a human. I've gone through all the stages, and beyond the stages, now I can fully embody this beautiful text called A Course in Miracles, because it's now in the rear view mirror. There's still going to be all sorts of feelings, but now I can choose the Course in Miracles and begin the responsibility. I can begin response before I really was a victim. So this is the miracle that I get to share. The other thing I just wanted to share, because I can be a blabbermouth. This has actually empowered us. The Course in Miracles, very clearly states nothing's going wrong except in the ego's judgment. And in my language, they say that the Holy Spirit will use everything the ego made. If for any of us for 1 second think that something has gone wrong in the story, remember what I'm saying, that every single one here is going to start their own ministry and create the butterfly effect. That's where all of this is going for all of us. Remember, Jody, you and I are the big reframers around here. Speaking of Jody.
Yeah.
Hi.
How you doing, Jody?
Hi, Jody.
I am cycling through so much fucking rage. It's shocking me.
Let it out, girl.
Yeah, I need a safe outlet because, I've been doing a lot of forest walks. And it's not enough. I need a punching bag.
Yeah,
or
you need some punching. You got to do some punching, something. Yeah, get
I
that
feel-
out.
It's like benzo rage all over again. Like I just want to fucking hurt something. Like, wow. Yeah,
There's a lot of rage going on.
We can't do this alone. Like I call Kenneth and I'm just like sobbing uncontrollably because I don't know what to do. I don't know, I know what not to do. 13 years ago, I was in these cycles and I didn't have the awareness that I had now. I was just in it. And I did all sorts of destructive things. So I'm grateful for the awareness that I have now because I'm just so aware that I need help. And I call Kenneth and I'm just like, or I go to the forest because I know what not to do.
And Kenneth loves taking those calls. The moment Jody texts, Kenneth presses the video button immediately. That's my first priority. Jody, you and I are healing together. Thank you.
Well, when one heals, we are not healed alone.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that healer's prayer. Sorry, Kathy, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I live central Ottawa, downtownish, and there are a lot of people raging all the time. Like there was a woman walking down the street just yesterday. I was biking, and she was screaming like, and I don't know, yelling at someone that wasn't there. And I saw this Asian couple walking by her, and they're like, and I just simply said, "Don't judge." Anyway, so it's okay. It's happening.
Remember what Calico said, though: if you see it, you got it, right?
Oh yeah, I got it.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens is people think that that's bad, that's wrong, it's out there.
It's all in.
If you can spot it, you got it.
I also I go to ecstatic dances where I can feel my rage and nobody judges, and I can get on stage or sing in my shower or when I'm biking and let it out, and that's what helps me.
I've screamed down city streets. I certainly have. I didn't even know I was gonna. Somebody looked at me wrong. So that's what I'm saying about managing it better. When I'm doing the things I need to do, I'm in a frequency that I wouldn't be doing that. It wouldn't be coming out like that. It's transmuted. we can keep this. This is anger is energy. I mean, all of it's not to be judged, right? It's to be gone through. It's just to be gone through. It's not to be judged, resisted, nothing. Because that judging and resisting is what's made us mentally ill, because we're just going to project it. So, right, if it's repressed, it's projected. If it's expressed, at least you can have the chance to have the awareness. Oh my God, this is in me. This is within me.
These
How do you
words.
know? Oh,
Go ahead, Chris.
Ken. I was just going to ask, how do you know if it's a healthy expression? Like I relate to what you're saying, Jody. I've often, especially the last few months, dealing with a lot of insomnia, often wake up in the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning, completely pissed. Just wake up pissed, which is a
Yeah,
you're
I
right,
get-
beloved. But in the moment, it is horrifying. And what I end up doing is I'm so angry, I will punch a pillow like a maniac, like with this energy that it's frightening in a way, but I'm trying not to judge it. I just let it out. I do
Yeah.
a ton of push-ups, angry push-ups. And then I take a cold shower at 3 in the morning. And doing all that, it kind of helps get it out.
Yeah.
And then I try to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Is that a healthy expression? You know, I feel like you got to feel it, right? You got to let it out.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the way I see it is it's like a black and white opposite. There's the unhealthy way, which is when I hurt myself or others. And that's with my words or my actions, right? So that's the unhealthy way to do it. Don't hurt myself, don't hurt others. So the opposite of that is healthy. Get it out of you without yourself.
That's kind of what I came to the realization yesterday, because I've been getting a lot of signs from, spirit animals and things that I need to move forward. And I thought it was repressing it, but I finally came to the conclusion yesterday. To move forward, it means let it go, let it out.
Let it out. Yeah.
Yeah, because
It's
I
gonna
really
come
do
out.
I really do need to like keep my focus on myself and not be, mad about externals. But I think, I think, I don't know what I'll do. I hear push-ups for Chris. Some people beat the hell out of a tree. I don't know what mine's gonna be.
Let me tell you, I have a Wii, and you can box, you can run, you can ski, I can do 20,000 different. I have 20 million ways to express myself. You see, and we need to use our tools better than yelling at somebody, and it doesn't feel good to you either. And then you got to deal with the guilt, which is totally in the ego's. It makes the ego so happy when you're guilty, because then you're back in its realm. It controls through guilt. Everything is controlled through guilt. This guilt is like, we got to look, if we look at it and forgive ourselves. And you can think of me, if you all have compassion for me, think of, well, I could see beloved, cursing somebody on Atlanta streets, and I could still say, wow, she must have some problems. She probably just needs a hug. You know what I'm saying? Just for us to have that compassion, so that, like Kathy says, she can just sit and see somebody, and you're not judging that person. You're not generating that negative energy. It's a call for love, right? Either we're able to give love, or it's a call for love.
Can I touch on that real quick? Because when I said the word ministry, and then Kathy said the word, people screaming on the streets, our ministry is real simple. You don't need a Zoom account. You don't need a website. What you need to do is to go towards that person who's screaming. The Asian couple, they went back from the person. We don't go away from the person. We go towards that person. And you know why? Because all of us have done the internal work. We are becoming healers. Right? I always call the wounded healer. Throw out the wounded part. We're just plain healers, because we've gotten to the other side. This is not new age. This is heart. Nothing wrong with new age, but this goes way deeper than any of that stuff. I'm sorry, I had to jump.
Now that's important that you said heart, because let's make this distinction. You're going to study with your heart now. We've been studying with our head. The mind is I forgot, there was a great phrase, but the mind thinks, but the heart knows.
Thank you.
Amen.
So
psychiatry is just going to be treating this mind. It's not saying your heart. That's spirituality is from your heart. That's what makes our head makes it so hard to get to our heart, right? it certainly made it for me because I'm all in the books and studying the research on bipolar and the this and that. And where's my emotions in my heart? Of course it's thinking and thinking, but the emotions and the thoughts get intertwined. But when I can say, oh my God, I know when my heart knows, and I know when I'm in my head, I can figure that out. When I'm in my heart, I'm good. When I'm in my head, that's when I could be triggered because I'm already like this.
I have something burning inside of me. Okay, ready? You bring bad news, talking this or that. Give me all you got and don't hold back. I should probably warn you I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
That was, what was his name?
Pharrell Williams.
Yeah. That's a good
I know
one.
actually on my healing journey that I've been on, and I used the cane for 2 years. First came the anger for a while, and then came a lot of sadness. And believe it or not, we store our emotions in our body. So when I was able to bring and release that stuff, my healing kicked in.
Yeah, man.
It is, we are an energy body. It's all energy here.
Guys, this is wisdom. This is absolutely priceless and beautiful. This is why I record these. We're all elders now. We have all passed the initiative, hero's journey exam. And this is now, we're being set free, butterfly wings, go fly free now and spread the message. And I don't want to like there's some sort of message. Just fly free and you can free to love yourself. This is self-love. And that's just gonna emanate out.
Yeah.
We should all pat ourselves on the back, not egoically. All of us. Got to smile at a beloved. And by the way, before I end this call, Greg, I think all of us, and I want everyone to just, we're all going to remind you how much you have grown. Got to remind you, and it's beautiful. God damn it, Greg! It is just an honor and a privilege, and thank God I've got these recorded. So, and it goes for all of us.
all of us. But yeah, Greg, definitely, and Chris. I mean, if you go to earlier recordings, you're going to be like, oh my God, to see all of us, our changes as
I might do that. I haven't.
Yeah, maybe I haven't either.
You look good today, Chris. You look good.
Yeah, you look
good.
10 years
Relax.
younger for real. Yeah.
It was the mustache.
No, I mean.
Okay, speaking of the recording, I'm gonna start wrapping up the recording, but you guys can have the Zoom call as ever long as you need. I got a call coming in at 1. So I could not be more.
What's the theme?
Oh God, I got a couple of them. I was thinking of bipolar or ego back. I'd like to get a little bit controversial. How about bipolar or ego backlash? What do you think?
I love that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
I like ego, but ego backlash is a bit more widespread than just bipolar.
Yeah. So can I put
he said both of them. He had both of them. Yeah.
Oh.
I'll just put ego backlash
versus
bipolar.
Maybe bipolar versus
smaller. Because
ego backlash versus.
I love that ego backlash thing.
Yeah,
I agree with Troy.
Bipolar is simply ego backlash.
Thank you. Oh yeah, that'll really get the Illuminati on me, or the pharmaceutical companies. And you know what? That means I need to do it. Good. We got to be trailblazers. I got to start. I'm tired of playing.
You want more people to watch though. So if you label it just bipolar, more bipolar. If you label it a bit more broader, you're going to get more people watching it. So
yeah, I got to keep the graphics small because I only get little windows on.
I say ego backlash because you're going to.
Perfect. Ego backlash. The jury's out. All right. So I have been here. You want one more thing, Kathy, to wrap this up? You just said hi. I've been here on Sunday, July 9th with Chris, Kathy, Beloved, Troy, Greg, and Jody. And we have just, oh my God. Well, we've covered so many topics in 1 hour. Every single one of these Zoom calls has been divinely guided. Spirit is leading this. This is good news, folks. Spirit wants us to get the hell out of Dodge, to go hand in hand and get the fuck out of the dark forest and get to the clearing where happiness is our divine birthright.
Yeah.
Aho.
Woo!
All right, so if you're watching this on YouTube, please, please, please leave your comments below. But even more important than leaving your comments, attend these Zoom calls. Visit the ministry, the psychiatricsobriety.com. All the information is on there, and join our group chat. I think that's about all I'm going to say for this Zoom call. And all right, I love you all. Thank you. Thank you for having the courage to choose life. God bless you, and may the force